Good Monday morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, August 12th. On the satellite imagery, you can see a lot of convective clouds pushing from Nevada through Utah into parts of Idaho. You also see the drier air and the smoke behind it pushing all the way back into the Pacific Northwest and Northern California. So a lot to unpack. We'll start with the impact map, and you can see our big threat will be gusty winds. The orange shade 25 to 35 miles per hour. The browner shade, we could see gusts in the 40s, so stronger down in the south. Humidity also getting a little bit higher as we head further north. The other concern, the outer periphery here, lightning up in the northern tier of our Idaho mountains, both Monday and Tuesday, and some of this could be nocturnal late tonight into tomorrow morning before it blossoms tomorrow afternoon further eastwards towards Wyoming and lingering in Wyoming and eastern areas on Wednesday. But where you see the green dots, that's where the thunderstorms will be wetter, that's where the humidity will be higher, and where initial attack is not expected to be that big of a factor. We've had a lot of precipitation in the Arizona Strip and southern and central Utah. Dark blues to greens are anywhere from a quarter inch to as much as an inch, so a lot of lightning down there. Not as much IA, especially the further south and east you go. You can see our in that plethora of lightning, not that much going on. Most of our new starts are on the western periphery where the atmosphere is a little drier. The new starts in the red, recent fires in the yellow, and team fires in the larger open circle. So a lot going on in all quadrants. You see our initial attack was about I would say light to moderate, 26 new fires for 248 acres and over 4,000 acres of large fire growth. Precipitation the past 7 days, you can see again wettest with the partial monsoon intrusion into our southern areas, but it's been hit and miss further north. Some spots in Idaho, narrow areas, got a good half-inch dosing, but a few miles away, some spots could have only gotten a few sprinkles and not much at all as you head back into Nevada. And that's where the ERCs are rapidly rising. Sierra Front 90, 97th percentile, all across northern Nevada and parts of northwestern Utah, also getting into the 90 to 97th percentile. And again, islands of hit and miss depending on who had showers and thunderstorms and who did not have that much. But again, not much of a concern in the eastern and southern portions of Utah and the Strip. Now, for this afternoon, we do have a trough of low pressure coming in. We have gusty winds through here. A lot of the lightning that we see up here in the north, part of it is actually pushing off to the east, but there'll be some early and there'll be some drier air and winds pushing in by later this afternoon, and these upper level winds will be a factor for a large portion of western Nevada, hence the high risk for a lot of these areas. You can see on the left the winds pretty strong off the Sierra Front, 40-45 miles an hour, more like 25 to 35 as you head further north and east, but again gusty up here where there was recent lightning up in the central mountains of Idaho where we have current fires. These darker purple shades are outflow boundaries from thunderstorms, and down here gusty winds, strongest in southern Nevada. Humidity though coming up a little bit into the mid to upper teens, maybe even near 30% along the Utah border. So once you get towards the Utah border on eastwards, winds probably not as consequential. We'll have to keep a careful eye out on some of the fires up on the Spring Mountains where the winds are there and the humidity is still quite dry. Precipitation for today, the lightning. Again, a lot of this is occurring maybe overnight nocturnally, but have to keep an eye on some of this lightning through here, but wetter as you head further east and further south. On Tuesday, again, the trough comes in, and again, there's more lightning potential in our four northern areas. We have high risk for a larger portion of Idaho into Wyoming, and a lot of this could be nocturnal also, so I'll have to keep an eye on this because there'll be dry air and winds punching in. Still some gusty winds down south and right along the Sierra Front. You see those stronger winds pushing a little bit further into Utah, and the drier air starts to push a little bit into Utah as well. Now up north initially, at least the first day, the humidity levels will still be somewhere 20 to 30% up in the central Idaho mountains. So any new starts might still be single tree torching for at least a day. There'll be some precipitation. These are some dry lightning signatures, those elongated streaks. We typically notice that with dry lightning, something to keep in mind. But again, wetter as you go from the mountains of Utah on eastwards. You can see the humidity disparity on the right-hand side. And then on Wednesday, everybody starts drying out. A ridge of high pressure starts building in. Winds become northwesterly, but drier air mass. We start drying things out. Still some lingering winds in the Sierra front and also parts of southern Utah, but the humidity in Utah will start drying out, but it'll take a while. Otherwise, lighter winds. 3-day precipitation total. You see here quite a soaking across at least the eastern half, if not the eastern 2/3 of Utah. Otherwise, hit and miss elsewhere. So we go into Thursday. Dry air, breezy conditions. We are watching this little low pressure area through here. And this could, again, brush our central Idaho mountains with more lightning. Keep that in mind, because that'll be followed up by drier air and some breezy southwest winds for many areas on Friday. Going into Saturday, that dry, breezy condition goes from just about the entire western Great Basin into Idaho. But notice in the southeastern portion of the Great Basin, this dark area here is increasing mid-level atmospheric moisture, opening up the train for the monsoon to come in. And by Sunday, we should get a first surge of a monsoon. You see a lot of areas that were drying out here in Nevada turn yellow. A lot of areas here in Utah go back into the green with showers and wetting thunderstorms, but again, dry and breezy where we have many of our large fire incidents. 7-day precipitation totals. We see the monsoon train now starting to move northwards and send spokes of its moisture into the eastern half of the Great Basin. And the 8 to 14-day outlook, we'll have a lot of trough passages coming in, so kind of changeable. The weather is not going to stay the same for several days in a row. We'll have some cooler than normal average conditions with some lows approaching the west coast, still hanging in under the influence of the ridge, which will be more towards Texas, but still bringing warmth to the eastern Great Basin. But where there's warmth, there's actually going to be higher humidity, and so I think the eastern portion of the Great Basin stays kind of benign for the next several days. And this concludes our report. Have a great day.